All right, so this is the February vinyl update, it brings me so much joy to share my vinyl record collection with you guys, and this is something that I really love. It's definitely my main outlet for, it's my main hobby. It's the thing I do for fun. It's something that I get to share with my mom sometimes. My mom and I collect together, and that's really something that's special to me. And just music has always been a place where I can go when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed. And there's been lots of reasons to feel stressed or overwhelmed over the last few years. And so records have been a place of like comfort for me in a lot of ways. And what's been really fun is being able to get records that I can share with my kids and my wife, and it can be something that we bond over. It's something that like I said, I bond with my mom about. My mom and I kind of collect together and talk about it. And so there's a lot of records again this month, but I did in the middle of the month kind of say, okay, I'm not buying any more records for 40 days. I decided that was what I was going to give up for Lent, and I have been mostly successful. I'll talk about one instance of not being successful next month when I do marches. Actually, it'll be, I think it won't. I don't know if it'll come in March. It might be May. Anyway, I'll talk about it when that one comes in. But for the most part, I've been pretty successful, and I'm pretty proud of myself. But it's still going to look like I have a ton of records this time because there are three different things that happen for me with records. Number one is I'm definitely a pre-orderer. If you're a fan of this hobby, then you know that like one of the things that happens with records is a lot of times you don't get a lot of notice. All of a sudden, a record that you actually really care about, that you're really passionate about, is on sale, and you might get no notice, or you might get a little bit of notice. It just varies. And I know that there are places you can go. I really like going to the Vinyl Den on YouTube and watching their videos about records that are coming out. It's a little bit of notice. It's not a lot of notice, and I know they know a little bit better way to figure it out. I haven't gotten into that yet. But so I will pre-order records when they become available, because I don't want to miss the chance to have them. And there are certain, especially bands or albums, that are meaningful enough to me that I want to do that. What's dangerous right now is a lot of times you'll have these bands who are like, look, we repressed 5 albums and they're all for sale right now, and they may never be on sale again. And so you really have that FOMO, that fear of missing out. So you end up diving in. But I'll pre-order albums. There will be albums that like I'm surprised about coming out, and I'll end up picking those out. And then there will be albums that like I plan ahead of time for, and I end up picking those up as well. Once in a while, my wife and I will go out just kind of to unwind, and there might be an album I pick up there. So, out of all the records that I'm going to show you today, like 5 of them are albums that I pre-ordered way back in September of last year. And then there are records that I picked up in some of those other circumstances. So I'll talk about that as we go. But the very first record that I picked up this month was The Princess and the Frog. Now, this is one of those where it was kind of a dangerous situation for me. And my mom and I have talked about this a lot, because Walmart and Target now selling vinyl, and a lot of times they have their own exclusive versions of vinyl, and they sound good. So I can get kind of, it can sneak up on me a little bit. However, when it comes to Disney, this movie has a special place in my heart, because I do have 2 children that I love very much who are black, that are my kiddos, and there is only one black Disney princess. And so this is a movie where I showed this to my daughter, and I was so glad for her to be able to have a princess that looked like her, that she had that representation. And furthermore, the soundtrack is phenomenal. You got a little Dr. John on there. You can't go wrong with a little Dr. John. But the soundtrack color on this is called like Bayou Green or something like that. It's a Walmart exclusive. It's a lot brighter than it looks here. It's a really bright green vinyl, and it's got a little bit of a like Bayou kind of a swirl type stuff in there as well, but very pretty. But The Princess and the Frog, most well known probably for that song Almost There. Now, I did know this album was going to come out for quite some time before it came out, and I even think it got pushed back a little bit. But this is one that I ordered off of Walmart's website because I liked the Walmart exclusive, and I wasn't sure we were going to be able to find it in stores. This is Sixpence None the Richer. I have been a fan of this band for quite some time. In fact, I've already shown before another one of the Sixpence albums that I have on vinyl. And these are the 2 that I wanted. So I don't really necessarily see a need to continue to buy Sixpence vinyl, but we'll see, because they're working on new music. But this album is the one that probably most people know, because this one has Kiss Me, which was, a big hit single for them. It was in the movie She's All That with Rachel Lee Cook and Freddie Prinze Jr., and just a really great song. And it also has There She Goes, which also showed up on a bunch of soundtracks. This is also a green vinyl, although this is a little bit more of like a mossy green, like a more muted green, but it's a really pretty vinyl as well. It's a double LP, both of those double LPs. All right, now this album is one, and I'm going to show you everything that's in this bin over here before I show you this other thing that's a little bit bigger. But this is one of the albums that I pre-ordered way back in September. This is Unoriginal Vinyl's pressing of Stavesacre Friction. This is the first album by the band Stavesacre. Stavesacre, I don't really know how to describe them very well, other than they're like Christian alternative rock. They have a little bit of a harder edge to them, although they're not like metal or hardcore really. But really great music. A band that if you were in the Christian scene in the 90s, probably meant a lot to you because they were kind of everywhere. They were a really important band for our scene. This is their first album, the first one I heard of theirs, and a lot of great songs on this. Originally, this was going to be a single LP, but it ended up being so... they wanted the quality to be a little bit better, so they ended up making it a double LP 45 RPM album. And it's on this kind of silver, and it's like a translucent silver, and I think they're both that color, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, both this sort of translucent silver color. It looks a little more translucent when you pull it out, but I'm having a hard time saying translucent. It's got a little bit of a whistle in it. But great album. Song called Shiv on here that I like a lot. Man, now as soon as I said that, I'm second guessing myself. Threshold. Shiv is on the Absolutes album, but Threshold is the song, and At the Moment, another really good one. Suffocate Me. Those are big songs, but Threshold is the one that was on all the compilations and stuff. So really great album. Now, my hope is that they will eventually press Absolutes as well, which is a phenomenal album and does have Shiv on it. Now, I showed you guys this collection before. I said I was going to talk more about this collection, and I didn't. And maybe I'll do a video about it, but, time gets away from me. But this is the Great Women of Song collection from Verve. They've got 7 albums out now, something like that, 7 or 8. And this is my third one. This is Dinah Washington. It's on this beautiful kind of green marble vinyl. And this has some fantastic songs on here. It's got What a Difference a Day Makes. Let's see here. Oh man, my vision is not the best. I Get a Kick Out of You. Cry Me a River. Not the Justin Timberlake one. Is You or Is You Ain't My Baby. And that's just some of the songs that are on this collection. Really great collection of Dinah Washington songs. Love it. At the same time, I also picked up Sarah Vaughan. Same thing. Kind of a red marble vinyl. Sarah Vaughan, another great jazz singer. This one has, let's see, Embraceable You, They Can't Take That Away From Me, Someone to Watch Over Me, Whatever Lola Wants. So some really great classic songs on there. If you love jazz, and I do, and especially these great female jazz singers, that series from Verve is just phenomenal. So one day, my wife and I decided to take a little stroll, and by stroll I mean drive, to a very close record store that I really enjoy, which is St. Marie Records in Fort Worth, and just kind of peruse the racks. I don't get to do that very often. And I ended up picking up this album, The Smiths' Louder Than Bombs. This is really sort of a collection. Some fantastic songs on here, and I'm so glad that I got it. Every time I hear the Smiths, I like them, but I didn't really grow up listening to a lot of their music, so it's a real thrill for me to get to know more of their music. This is a double LP, heavyweight vinyl, and just some fantastic tracks on this collection, so definitely worth picking up. And then our taxes, we did our taxes, and so when we do our taxes, we get to each spend just a skosh of money out of our return. And so one of the things I got is I picked up this collection, and I don't have a sleeve big enough for this yet. I've got to get some more sleeves, but this is Amy Winehouse at the BBC. This is a triple LP, all the songs that she recorded at the BBC. So this has some really great ones that are on both of her studio albums, and then just some stuff some covers that she did that are really great. She's got her cover of oh shoot, what was it? I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Her cover of Monkey Man. And then we've got like sometimes there's several versions of some of her bigger songs. I love Amy Winehouse, and I was really excited to get that collection as well. Then this is a sort of on a whim. I ended up picking up this album. I was talking to RJ Phoenix from On the Upbeat, and we were both talking about the album Millington. I found this online and was able to purchase it, but I didn't have it yet. And it kind of told you what was on side A, but it didn't tell you what was on side B. And so I reached out to RJ to say, hey, do you know what's on side B? He's like, I wish, man. I wish I could find the album. And I was like, well, here's the link for it. And so we both immediately ordered the album and had it shipped to our house. It's this beautiful splatter. Pretty simple. Not a ton of like splatter across it. Mostly blue. But there is a little bit of splatter that I really enjoy on this. And then Millington, fantastic band. They just announced Brass Emo Volume 2. So make sure you check that out and pre-save that as well. And then the last thing I got besides the other thing is I had to order the Fishbone EP from Fat Records. This one is the one that has Estranged Fruit, a song that they did with NoFX, which is a song that really, really is just phenomenal. And really, I love it. I like Fishbone, and I didn't have any of their albums on vinyl. And I really felt like if I'm going to say I'm a ska fan, I got to have some Fishbone in here. So I definitely was eager to ordered it, and I do not regret it at all. I'm very glad to have this in the collection, this real bright yellow vinyl. And that brings me to this, which is something I'm very excited about. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen me talk about this a little bit. Oh, but this is the Five Iron Frenzy box set. Now, Five Iron Frenzy is one of my top bands of all time. I've been a fan of them since I was in 8th grade. Them and MXPX are the two bands I really listened to the most growing up. I've been very blessed and privileged to get to have some phenomenal interactions with several of the members of Five Iron Frenzy who are all wonderful stand-up people, and I'm so thankful for those opportunities. Also, this box set was produced by Unoriginal Vinyl, which I love everything that they do. They take their time, they get it right. Sometimes that means you're waiting a little bit longer for the record than they originally pitched. They try not to do that, but when they do, it's worth the wait. So this Five Iron Frenzy box set, I pre-ordered back in September. Now, one of the things that was so cool about this box set is that if you already had some albums, because a lot of their albums had already been pressed, you could kind of pick and choose what you wanted. Now, I think that the unoriginal vinyl versions of the pressings are going to be the best versions. And I don't have all unoriginal vinyl pressings because I just couldn't afford to rebuy about 8 albums I already had. But I was very pleased to buy the 4 that I didn't have and get this great box to put it all in, which is a really cool thing that they did. The box set came with these stickers to personalize your dumpster, graffiti it up. All of these stickers are things that represent like the history of Five Iron Frenzy. And so yeah, it's a real blessing. Now, it's also, you may have noticed, it's designed to look like a dumpster. And then whenever you open it up, you have a literal dumpster fire of Five Iron Records. Now, if you love Five Iron Frenzy, didn't mean to bump that. If you love Five Iron Frenzy, you know that this kind of humor is totally up Five Iron's alley. Like, this is who they are. And so that just makes it even better. Now, let's take a minute and show you very quickly the albums that I picked up. So the first one, and this honestly, like, this would have been enough for me because I had been looking for this album, is our newest album ever by Five Iron Frenzy. You're not going to be able to see probably the pressing colors as well as I'd like. Let me see if I can do this kind of one-handed. I'm trying to keep several things from falling over on me. Let's see. So all of the individual albums, if you picked them up literally individually, were on recycled vinyl. So this is like a little bit of a brownish kind of color. But they actually ended up being really pretty. And I'll tell you, I was super worried. I keep bumping the microphone. I'm bumping everything. I'm a mess right now. I was super worried about recycled vinyl because if you're a part of the vinyl community, probably nothing is talked down about so much as recycled vinyl. Basically, you're led to believe that every recycled vinyl album that comes out is going to be trash quality. So I was a little nervous, but I really trust Unoriginal Vinyl, and they did a phenomenal job. They did a fantastic job with these pressings. They sound so good. Okay, so here's the other one that I was so excited to get. I mean, I was excited to get all of them, but this is Proof That the Youth Are Revolting. Now, this is a live album, and this is a double LP. Again, recycled vinyl. Each recycled vinyl kind of has its own color. But this is a double LP. And this live album I listened to so much when I was a kid. I mean, I can remember specifically having my Discman in my hands, my headphones on my head, and walking from my job at the Spaghetti Warehouse to my friend's church, the First United Methodist Church in Bedford, so many times, listening to this album. And like, I think this may have been, I can't remember if that's the first time that Dandelions was on vinyl, or if it was on that EP Quantity is Job 1 just before that. I think it was on Quantity is Job 1. I have to remember. But I know it was the first album that they had. I'm blanking right now. They wrote a song about Columbine and A New Hope. And that, I think that was the first time that they played A New Hope. So I remember just walking and like weeping to some of these songs. They were just so meaningful to me, and they were a message that I wasn't getting in any other band at the time. So meaningful. So glad to have these particular albums on vinyl. So again, I had several of these albums already. Another album I didn't have is The End Is Here, which was their last studio album before they broke up. And if you know Five Iron Frenzy, you remember the time when they broke up, and then later they ended up getting back together. Again, some recycled vinyl. This is a single LP, and just a fantastic studio album. The last studio album I didn't have. And then that brings us to this album. That's not the one. That's Between the Pavement and the Stars. I already had that. It would be this album. Here we go. This album, which is called It's Creative But Not Very Funny. And this has some of the songs that were on the album The Cheeses of Nazareth. And it's like one of the sides is really like a lot of funny songs, and one of the sides is some more serious songs. But if you know Five Iron Frenzy and you've liked them for a long time, you know that they have some of the funniest songs out there, but they also have some of the most poignant and meaningful songs that I've heard in the ska scene. So those 4 Five Iron Frenzy albums were albums I pre-ordered way back in September. I was like, I'm definitely not going to miss out on those. I have these 2 beautiful box sets now. I posted a picture of them on Facebook the day that this came in. An MXPX box set and a Five Iron Frenzy box set, both done by Unoriginal Vinyl. I could not be more happy to have both of those. So this video is getting a little bit long. I think that means that I had something like 13 albums. It could be more for this month. I don't remember exactly, but I am so thankful for each and every album that I have. Next month won't be that many. It won't be anywhere near that many, but there are a couple that have already come in for next month. For March, because today is March 2nd or 3rd or something like that. Again, I'm so thankful that I get to do this hobby, and I'm so thankful to get to share it with you guys. RJ Phoenix posted this the other day on his social media, a picture of all the albums that he ordered in the month of February, and he said, basically, like, support the scene you want to see. So if you want to see a great ska scene, buy great ska albums, by great ska bands that need those sales to continue being a band. Okay? And he couldn't be more right. So I want to encourage you, check out Bad Time Records, check out Ska Punk International, check out Jump Up Records, check out Asian Man Records, check out your local band's Bandcamp, and get some vinyl, get some CDs, pay for some digital releases, support the bands that you love so they can keep being bands. And I'll see you in March with my March albums.